What is going on, everybody? We are live. We're late, but I'm here. I posted the short earlier, just letting you guys know I was gonna be running late tonight. Kiddo had a tournament this weekend, and of course, we seems like we always end up with one of the late games. But hey, we're here. We're here to talk start, sit, trade questions as trade deadlines are coming up in a lot of your fantasy leagues. So we still got a little bit of that going on. But shoot, let's what are we doing? What are we doing? We're getting the dubs this week, right? Um, Hopefully everyone's doing good. We've got we're dealing with some injuries, right? CD Lamb's a little banged up. Showed up on the injury report. Cowboys aren't worried about that, but it's not the injury that worries me with CD. It's the poor quarterback play that we got now, right? Um, we're dealing with um, Cooper Rush back there. And here's the thing: this team's not as good as it was a few years ago, and it was pretty rough. I think he had like 6 catches for like 20 yards or something absurd like that. I mean, I don't think it was that bad, but I'm kind of yanking the e-brake on CD. I know last week I said I wasn't necessarily concerned about it, but then after the play this last week, you can't help but be concerned, right? I know Duncan popped a question in there. Should he start James Cook or should we be starting CD Lamb? And I'm 100% going with James Cook on that. I know it's a tough matchup for Cook playing the Kansas City Chiefs, but I still like that better than I do CD. Um, we know James Cook is going to get the ball. He's going to break some things. He's probably going to get a touchdown this week. I mean, let's just face it. Um, the Bills aren't. They're going to be fine. You know, it's going to be a high scoring game. I think. Well, probably a middle of the road scoring game. Let's say that 20s, maybe 30s, something like that. But yeah, I'm going James Cook over CD Lamb. For me, I don't think that's really that big of a question. Um, it's kind of a no-brainer for me, especially with what we kind of got out of CD. Now, can CD bust out and have a big week? Obviously, yes, right? And he probably will since I picked James Cook. But hey, what can you do? You know, you're gonna get some, you're gonna miss some. It's just the way it is. While we're waiting for some people to get in here, let's just kind of I gotta take a look at my teams. I haven't done too much with them. Um, I know right here in Yahoo Public Leagues, all yeah, it looks like the trade deadline just happened. So out of luck there, but I wasn't looking to make any trades. I got in this league I got going here. I'm starting Stafford at QB. Wide receivers right now, I got JMO and Debo in there. James Cook is my running back. J.K. Dobbins, Hunter Henry at tight end, Ramondre Stevenson in my flex. On my bench, I've got Josh Downs, Xavier Leggett. Of course, the Panthers are on a bye this week. Drake London. Been battling some injuries, full participant practice. That injury designation has been removed. So possibly maybe looking at bumping him in and pulling JMO out. Although I do like the matchup that JMO has. You know, Drake London, he's playing Denver. Denver's tough against wide receivers. JMO, the Lions are playing the Jags. So yeah, the Jags just suck. Um, that's just all there is to that. But yeah, we got Javonte Williams. I got him on the bench. He hasn't done much here as of lately. Um, Check. He had one attempt for 1 yard last week against Kansas City, 2 catches for 6 yards. The week before that, 12 rushes for 42 yards. I mean, he hasn't done anything since week 7. And for the most part, that's the only week that he has done anything. So, you know, Javonte Williams, who was someone who'd been up there, he's gone down, right? Audric Estime came in and played pretty good. Michael, what is going on, sir? How are we doing? How's our lineup looking this week? Are we good? We got to talk some things through. How are we looking this week, brother? We got the dub tonight. We finished. We got a win and a tie in bracket play. They let the bracket games end in ties. The tie was kind of a little bit by design. Um, we didn't want to end up in the top bracket this weekend. We wanted to end up in the second bracket, which is where we ended up. Um, but we got the kiddo pitched the first bracket game tonight and got the dub. 8 strikeouts in 3 innings. So she had herself a pretty good little game as we won 8-1. So but yeah, I'm just kind of looking at my lineups right now, kind of going through things. Got Justin Herbert on the bench, Christian Watson on the bench. I think I am going to go ahead and stick with Jameson Williams with them playing Jacksonville. Just look for them to try and get some of those big plays in this week, Detroit. Just kind of get out of that little bit of a funk that they were in and just kind of take it out on Jacksonville, I think, for what happened last week. Kids never let you know, man. She fought hard. Where she's coming up on 100 strikeouts on the season. She has 94 total strikeouts on the season. And so we're actually going to miss tomorrow, which sucks, but my company has a thing going on that we got to go to. And but if the team makes it to the championship game, which we're hoping they do, we'll be there for the championship game, and I'm hoping she can hit that 100th strikeout during that championship game. So it's good times. But yeah, that's kind of the lineup I got going here. I will tell you a defense that I was able to pick up in a couple of leagues was the Houston defense with them playing Dallas this week. I think the Houston defense just eats on that Dallas D. Just takes care of business for sure. What else we got going on here? Let's take a look at this league here. Again, I'm just kind of rolling through some of my rosters and things. I did pick up the Miami defense in some leagues. They're playing the Vegas Raiders this week. So looking good. He jumped to 20-point lead with Devontae Smith and Z Brown for IDP. Okay. But you know what? But you didn't get too much, right? Devontae Smith didn't do much this week. Devontae Smith is almost kind of and I got my whole roster though. Yeah, he's got 2 guys and already played, and you got your whole roster. And making up 20 points is easy money. But Devontae Smith has just kind of been a letdown here lately. Like I played him in my league this week, right? Because I kind of was expecting a decent week. Hold on, that's the wrong league. Let me pull up the right league. He got me 6.9 points in a PPR. He had 4 catches for 29 yards. Yeah, of course we'll take that, right? I think I'm getting to the point to where Devonta Smith is going to be kind of like a bench. He's going to end up on my bench. I had a couple, tougher matchups. Jackson Smith and Jigba going up against the 49ers this week. I think it's a little bit of a tough matchup. I got Amari Cooper on the bench, and who knows if he's going to play, right? So, again, we go with the guy who's healthy for sure that we know of versus a guy that, if he's healthy, I would definitely play Amari Cooper over him, right? But I don't know. So, yeah, I got 6.9 points out of him. Not the greatest start that you would want, but hey, we'll see what we can get out of them. I do got Kirk Cousins playing, and they're playing Denver, so that's a little tough one. UNLV, what is going on, brother? How we doing? Hope we're doing good. And then New Orleans defense, I like them this week. They're playing Cleveland. I think that's a nice matchup for New Orleans and Cleveland. I mean, Jameis Winston just looked bad. He's not looking like what you kind of expect out of him, couple interceptions, but he's going to throw you like 3 touchdowns and almost 300 yards. But he didn't do anything for us this last week, which, what can you do? What can you do? Man, just kind of going through my lineups right now, guys. Waiting for some, again, if we got any start sit questions, let me know. Trade deadlines are pretty much come and gone in pretty much all your leagues. I know Yahoo's was today. So the trade deadline's at 11:59 Pacific time tonight. So a little bit left on that. So I was talking about CeeDee Lamb earlier, and here I have him. He's in my starting lineup right now, but I'm actually going to go ahead and move him out, and I'm going to go ahead and put Deebo Samuel in for CeeDee Lamb. Questionable, and I just didn't like what I saw out of him last week. He had a really bad week last week. 10 targets, 6 catches, 21 yards. Not not what you want out of a guy that we drafted for sure. Maybe Devontae Adams tag. Is he playing? Let's take a look. I know he kind of showed up on the injury report. He's been dealing with some stuff, but let's see what we got going on with Adams. He's questionable right now, which isn't good. He's dealing with an illness and a wrist. He did participate. Let's see here. He got in a full practice on Friday, so that's what you want to see, right? What time do they play? Noon game, so we should know pretty early. They're playing Indy, a nice matchup. They should take care of business. Is CeeDee Lamb supposed to be playing? But I don't know that I want to play him if he is playing. The last that we've gotten out of the CeeDee Lamb camp is McCarthy suggested he wasn't worried about the stats of Lamb. He was added to the injury report Saturday with a back injury, but just saying it's not a high concern. With him playing the Monday night game, we want to play somebody else though. Like unless we have somebody else just ready to go. But here's the problem though. But he's playing Monday night, right? And so we're not gonna know. And London plays at 3:05. So I would probably go ahead and play Drake London, Michael. And not play CD. Because we don't know. We just don't know. And yeah, I wasn't thrilled with what came out of there last week, right? Fantasy wise. 6 catches for 21 yards on 10 targets. So yeah, I don't know about that. I'm like I said, I just benched him. I benched him for Debo. But if Drake London was my option, I would bench CD for Drake London. Not. I meant for Adams. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. I mean, if Adams is playing and he's supposed to be playing, again, he logged a full practice on Friday. I'm playing Davante Adams against Indy. I think that's a nice matchup for him for sure. But yeah, and if not, yeah, Drake London's a nice backup there. If you have a Kansas City kicker, they put on. Butker's gonna miss. He's gonna be missing some time. So if you got Butker in your league, go move him. Jennings or Waddle? Jennings or Waddle? Okay. Let's see here. So we know. Here's a little bit of my concern with Jennings. They're playing Seattle. It's a nice matchup, but Ricky Purcell's kind of come in and played pretty decent. Last week he did have 11 targets, 7 catches for 93 yards. So, and that's his first week back in the last couple weeks, right? So that's definitely nice to see that he's getting a target share. Seattle allows the 10th most points to wide receivers, so you do have a good matchup there. Again, I do tend to worry a little bit about Ricky Purcell just kind of taking some of those over. But Jalen Waddle, here's my problem with Jalen Waddle. We haven't gotten anything out of him really this season. He's had 1 week where he's had over 10 points, and that's including week 9 where he had a touchdown, but he had 2 catches for -4 yards. Waddle just has not been the same. So I'm going to go ahead and go with Jennings there. We're just getting more out of Jennings. Waddle has just been a huge disappointment this year. Again, he's had 1 week, and that was week 1, where he had 5 catches for 109 yards. Outside of that, 4 for 41, 4 for 26, 4 for 36, 4 for 46, 1 for 11, 4 for 45, 2 for -4, and 3 for 57. Just not good. And those are games with Tua and without Tua too, right? Even with Tua, he hasn't been that great. So what can you do? Waddle's just been a big disappointment this year, and he's to the point to where you're just really not really playing him until he shows you something. Complete bust, yeah, complete. Especially with where you drafted him, right? You drafted him pretty decently, because I mean, even Tyreek's been a bust this year, especially with where you drafted Tyreek at. A lot of people, Tyreek was drafted in the top 5 in your league. He's one of your top 5 picks, and he just hasn't been Tyreek. What can we say? Just the Dolphins have just been off this year, even when Tua was in there. Again, this isn't just those weeks that Tua was out. This is Tua the beginning of the season, Tua since he's come back. They've just been off this year. That's all there is to it. Miami just hasn't been the same this year. And I really hope it doesn't cost. I don't think it will. I think Miami's. I don't think they're in any way threatening to get rid of Daniels. But yeah, that old line is awful. Yeah, and that's what they got to do. They need to draft and develop that old line to help out, especially with Tua. Right? He's been right. Yeah, and you don't want Tua running for his life because he makes bad decisions. He leads with his head. Like, what are you doing? I'm so nervous about Tua and him going out at any point in time. And the thing is, like, I'm an A-Chain owner. I got Devin A-Chain in a couple of my leagues. Um, and if Tua's not in there, he's nothing. The threat of the pass is what he needs to open up those lanes, those running lanes. And yeah, so I'm nervous every week, not because of Devin A-Chain, but because of Tua. Because if Tua goes out, A-Chain's getting nothing. Would you consider starting McConkey? I would consider starting McConkey. I like McConkey. We kind of talked a little bit last week about, is that a guy that you like, either him or Quentin Johnston, as far as dynasty is concerned? Like, who do you want the stock in? And for me, it's McConkey. Um, Decent matchup against Cincinnati. They're kind of a middle of the road type thing. Um, he's got you a few weeks where he's got some touchdowns. He's getting 6 to 8 targets a week, pretty much. Um, Now, would I consider him over Jennings? I don't. I think I'm going to go with Jennings over McConkey. Um, Mc, Jennings has a higher target share um, than McConkey gets. He gets more. He's been getting more targets than McConkey gets. Um, I like McConkey. I like the matchup against Cincinnati, but uh, the thing is with Jennings, though, I actually think that's a. Oh, if I can type just to make sure that I get all my numbers right. It's actually a more favorable matchup against Seattle. Seattle gives, again, they give up the 10th most points. Cincinnati gives up the 15th most points. Um, and Jennings has been pretty good without Ayuk, right? Um, he was good to be in the year when they were down Debo and Ayuk. Jennings has really stepped up this year, and I like the production that we're getting out of him. So if our choice is between Jennings and McConkey, I'm going Jennings. He's just shown that higher target share there. Now McConkey can bust out. I mean, he's got one game this year where he had the 2 touchdowns, but outside of that, I mean, he's just been kind of steady, right? He's going to get you. I mean, let's just go down the line of his catches: 5, 2, 3, 5, 4, 5, 6, 5, and 2. Yardage, he's not lighting the world on fire with yardage: 39, 26, 44, 67, 43, 46, 111. Week 8 was a big week for him. 64 last week against Cleveland. That gives up the most points or second most points to wide receivers. Or that was 2 weeks ago. And then last week, 52 yards against Tennessee. So, I mean, he does all right, but I think you've got a higher ceiling with Jennings. And I think your middle is more Jennings, right? Um, I think he's kind of the safer play as far as that's concerned. So, Hope that helps. Um, yeah, Cincinnati's defense is just really bad. But here's the thing with the Chargers though, and that you always got to kind of be aware. Hey, no problem, man. Um, they like to run the ball a lot too, right? If they go up in that game, which you can see them going up again in that game, Indy, you've got Anthony Richardson is back. Flacco has kind of shown the last couple games, he's shown his age. He's not that same Flacco that we got at the beginning of the year, um, and at the end of the year last year with Cleveland. He's kind of back to, man, I'm old man, right? So I could see that game kind of getting out of hand, and then I could see the Chargers running the ball a lot. So, although Justin Herbert's been playing better each week, uh, Harbaugh's really been working with him a lot. Harbaugh likes to run the ball, right? That's one thing we know about Harbaugh from his time at Michigan, from his time with the 49ers before that, his time with Stanford. He likes to run the ball, and he will lean on a running back, especially if they get a lead. Especially if they get the lead, he wants to shorten the game, is what he wants to do. So, what else we got, guys? We got anything else? I'm still kind of looking at some of my lineups for sure. What do we got going here? I ain't looked at this league yet. I got Sam Darnold starting at QB. They're playing Tennessee. Jamar Chase, you're never benching him ever. I already had Devontae Smith play, and he got me 1 point in this league. Saquon got me 22 points in this league as he went off for 146 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns and 2 catches for 52 yards. Saquon has just been a beast. If Philly can keep winning, Saquon will definitely be up there for MVP for sure. Yeah, I guess right now I'm going to go with Sam Darnold. Although let me look and see what players are there. I don't mind Sam Darnold, Hockenson or Kittle. Okay. Um, what did we? Let's double check and see what we've gotten out of Hockenson so far this year. Again, just coming back off the injury. You're not getting a ton. I mean, he had 8 catches this last week for 72 yards. Tennessee is tough against tight ends. But they definitely want to get him some action, right? And I think he's just going to get better as the year goes on. Kittle's just old. He's questionable right now. He's dealing with a hamstring injury. He was limited in practice Thursday and Friday. He sat out Wednesday. They expect him to play. But I mean, let's just be honest. He's been okay. He's getting you a decent amount of touchdowns, actually. Yardage isn't really there, but I mean, he scored you a touchdown every week. But he didn't get one in week 3 and week 7 against Kansas City. But outside of that, he's getting you a touchdown every week. The problem is you're dealing with a 305 start, right? You want to make sure he's playing. TJ's playing. He's got that noon game. So unless we get some sort of confirmation for sure that Kittle is playing, we're going to go with Hockenson. Again, we're going with the guy that's going into the game who's healthy versus a guy who's banged up, who hasn't been. He's been practicing, but he's been limited. Dealing with a hamstring, it can always tweak it, right? So I'm going to go ahead and go with Hockenson in this, just because I know he's healthy. Now, if we get 100% word that Kittle is playing before the noon game, then we can go with Kittle, but only if we get the confirmation that Kittle is a go. If we don't have a confirmation on Kittle, we're going with Hockenson, so we're not left holding our junk, right? And then you're having to go out there and you're having to pick up. Hold on a second. I'll tell you exactly who you probably would pick up, because I mean, at that point in time, There's not going to be a lot of options out there. So you're picking up Eric Saubert, who will be the starter if Kittle's out. Not excited about that option. So yeah, again, it's just another case of dealing with a guy who's hurt going into a game, a little bit of a later game, versus a guy who's healthy. The healthy guy in the early game is who we go with over the guy who's banged up. But if Kittle's playing, we want to play him because all he does is pretty much score touchdowns, all but twice this season. So hope that helps. That's just kind of where I'm at, and we deal with this question every week, guys. We dealt with it a little bit earlier when we're talking about CD. He should be fine, but we don't know. We don't know for sure on that one. We just want to go with the guy that's healthy because we know he's going to play. If we're going with a guy who's not healthy, again, we dealt with it a while ago. Taysom is available for me. Taysom's boom or bust. He's going to get you 2 points or he's going to get you 20 points. I think Hawkinson's the safer play. But if you need a big production out of your tight end position to try and get the W, Taysom's got the higher ceiling just based off of, again, he's a guy who's either going to get you 2 points or he's going to get you 20 points. They design a lot of things for him, and it just depends on if it's his thing. So, I don't mind Taysom, but again, Hawkinson's going to be the safer play in that situation. Taysom's hey, I need to shoot for the moon option. And if you need to shoot for the moon, then you go for Taysom. So, Michael, I traded Davante Adams for Mike Evans. It processes Wednesday. Thoughts? What's our latest on Mike Evans? That's what my thoughts are. I mean, we know he's out. Yeah, of course, they're on a bye. They're optimistic that he'll be available for week 12. If he comes back week 12, yes. I like Mike Evans more than I do Davante Adams. He's confident he'll be back. Yeah, as long as he's back after the bye, 100%. Yes. Yes, 1,000 times. Because I'm going to tell you this right now, today, this season in the NFL, Baker Mayfield is a better quarterback than Aaron Rodgers. Right now. If you told me I had to pick one quarterback to get me a win right now, Baker or Aaron Rodgers, I'm taking Baker. Baker's a better quarterback right now. Aaron Rodgers is not that guy anymore. Aaron Rodgers he's just showing his age. And the fact that he's talking about possibly coming back next season, why? What are you doing? You need to retire. Retire, Rodgers. You're done. Yeah, Mahomes hasn't been good this year, Michael. Mahomes has been, especially fantasy-wise, right? If we're talking fantasy, which is, that's what we're talking, right? It's ego for Rodgers, 100% ego. He wants to do what Brett Favre couldn't do and win a championship with the Jets. Well, guess what? You're not going to. You're not. And I'll tell you this right now: you want to compare when Brett Favre went to the Jets versus you going to the Jets, Brett Favre was a better quarterback. Brett Favre, when he went to Minnesota after the Jets, he's a better quarterback than Aaron Rodgers is right now. That's all there is to it. But yeah, Pat Mahomes I don't play Pat Mahomes in fantasy. I have him. Now, the league I benched him in, I have Joe Burrow too. Had a little bit of embarrassment of riches. I drafted Pat Mahomes early, and then I was sitting there in the 10th round, and Joe Burrow was still sitting there, and I was like, I'm going to take Joe Burrow. And then probably for the last 6 weeks, I've been playing Joe Burrow over Pat Mahomes because Pat Mahomes has been bad. At one point in time, when he was first struggling in the beginning of this year, everyone's like, what do we do with him? I'm like, well, you play him. He's Pat Mahomes. Do you have the balls to bench him? Well, now it's not about having the balls to bench him. It's just, look, he's just not that good this year. Burrow is a dog this year. Dude, I love watching Burrow. And here's the thing with Burrow. The dude is fearless. He gets hit on pretty much every single play. It was because he shaved his hair for Burrow. But Burrow gets hit every play. Every play. Even when he's got a clean pocket and he throws the ball, he's getting hit. If I have the Dallas kicker and I'm playing Texas D, will that hurt me? No. No, I would play the Texans D. Dallas kicker, he's going to score. He's probably going to kick a couple field goals, probably some 40, 50 yarders. He's going to get you some good points, but field goals aren't going to hurt your defense. Here's what's going to help your defense. The defense is going to get turnovers. I picked up the Texans D in a couple leagues because they were sitting there, and I'm playing them. So yeah, no, that's not going to hurt you. Because I think the Texans D, they get some turnovers, maybe even score a touchdown. I wouldn't be surprised. They picked up a pick six. They picked off Goff 5 times. What do you think they're going to do to Cooper Rush? I'm not saying they're going to pick him off more than that. That was a once in a lifetime awful game for Jared Goff last week, and he still got the dub. But I'm playing the Texans D, and I'm playing the Dallas kicker. I'm playing Brandon Aubrey because he's going to kick. He might kick you a couple 50-yard field goals, and depending on the league that you're in, it's a lot of points. So, yeah, no, I'm not concerned about that. I'd play them both. Yeah, he's not going to kick enough field goals that's going to take your score down a ton. Again, I think the Texans they're going to get sacks. I think they're going to get a couple turnovers, maybe score a touchdown. Who knows? But yeah, no, that's not going to hurt you. You're fine playing them both. Okay, what we got here? Jennings or Tillman start. I was rolling with Tillman, but what do you think? Let's take a look. What has old Peanut done? I know he's been doing good with Jameson there. Playing New Orleans. Um, 6 catches, 7 catches, 81. So that's your last 3 weeks from Tillman. 8 catches for 81, 7 for 99, 2 touchdowns, 6 for 75, and a touchdown. Playing New Orleans, you give up the 14th most points to your wide receivers. I've been talking a lot about Jennings and wanting to play him because I like what we've been getting out of Jennings, but I think Tillman's going to be the play here. He's been kind of the number one guy there. And Jennings has a good matchup against Seattle, right? No, go Jennings. Go Jennings. I'm gonna stick with Jennings. A good target share. But he's definitely getting a really good target share there. I'm going Jennings. I think Jennings will take over his receiver core. Yeah, no, because you don't. Debo's the X factor, right? He's going to run the ball. He might throw a pass. He's going to catch some passes. He's more of the trick play type thing. Jennings is your possession receiver, your go-to wide receiver, which makes Debo more dangerous. When Brandon Ayuk was on the team, well, he's still on the team, but when he was healthy and when he's playing good, that just makes Debo, that much better. So, but yeah, I'm going to go with Jennings there. Yeah, you had Jennings. Jennings or Tame start. I was rolling with Tillman, but what do you think? Yeah, I'm going to go Jennings is where I'm going to go with on that one. So go with Jennings. Be growing. Start Love or Goff. I'm going Goff. I'm going Goff this week. Jordan Love, I mean, he's coming off the injury, right? They got the bye week. He should be healthy. Um, but they're playing the Bears, and the Bears defense is tough. Like, say what you will, but the Bears defense is pretty tough. Um, I think Goff is going to be coming out looking to shut everybody up after last week. I don't think Goff throws a pick this week. Okay, let's talk about this. Jordan Love's probably going to have 300 yards, a couple touchdowns. Jared Goff is probably going to have you about 200 yards, 3 to 4 touchdowns this week, I think, against Jacksonville. Less yards, more touchdowns. Goff will definitely, or Love. I mean, Love could throw you 400 yards, right? I think you're going to get more yards out of Love, less touchdowns. So depending on how your league kind of scores that's what I'm going to take into factor, right? Take into place. More yards with Love, less yards, more touchdowns with Goff. So, let's see here. Smokey's in the house. What's going on, Smokey? Full PPR, London, Metcalf, or Tillman. Also full PPR, Waddle or Quentin Johnston. Playing McLaurin on Thursday in both leagues. I'm not playing Waddle. I'm going with Quentin Johnston. Higher upside. Waddle has gotten us nothing this year. I say that. Let me just. I know Johnston's had some weeks where he's getting us some touchdowns. Let me just double check that target share there for him. 2 catches, 24 yards and a touchdown. 4 catches, 118 yards and a touchdown. 3 for 22. That was back in week 6 because he missed, few weeks. I mean, okay, hold on. Waddle just hasn't done anything. London, I don't like the matchup against Denver. Metcalf, a little bit tougher matchup going against 49ers. Tillman, we're actually just talking about him, and he's been playing pretty good, although I'm going with Jennings over Tillman. Going up against that New Orleans defense, give it the 14th most points. I think Tillman might be the play there out of those 3. Give me Tillman. Metcalf just kind of has a little bit of a tougher matchup against the 49ers. You got your 4 catches for 99 yards and a touchdown, 3 for 48, 4 for 55, 7 for 104. So those are the kind of numbers that we're kind of taking a look at. Coming off the injury, doesn't have any injury designation. He should be good to go, but I like Tillman in the matchup there more. So let me go with Tillman in that, and I guess I'm going to go Quentin Johnston because Waddle's gotten us nothing. And I think you get a little bit of a higher ceiling with Johnston than you do with Waddle because again, Waddle's had 1 week, week 1. I'm in the same boat. Knicks versus Love. I want to say Love. I think Bo Nix has been playing better as of late. They're playing Atlanta. Atlanta gives up the 7th most points to quarterbacks. So nice matchup. He's going to get you a couple hundred yards. I mean, he's not throwing for a ton. He hasn't thrown for 300 yards all season. He's every other week on touchdowns right now, guys. Last week, 2 touchdowns. The week before that, none. The week before that, 3. The week before that, 0. The week before that, 2. And then 2, 1, 0, 0 to start the season. I kind of like Nix. I think he's been playing better as of late. He's made Courtland Sutton fantasy relevant again. But I'm going to go with Love. You're going to get more yards and probably the same touchdowns. That's right, Michael. Don't forget to hit that like button. As always, you're on top of it, Michael. I think you're going to get same kind of touchdown production too. Out of both of them probably. But you're going to get a lot more yards with Jordan Love. because they will throw the crap out of the ball. It's a tough matchup. He might get you a pick, but he's going to have you more yards, and definitely has the potential to throw more touchdowns for sure. That offense could see a lot of time out there, with as bad as that Bears offense has been. So, yeah, I'm going Jordan Love over Knicks, Michael. That's where I'm going in that book. Okay, here we go. We're not doing ETN if that's ETN there, Kyle. We're done with ETN. Dobbs, Chubb, ETN, pick one RB, one flex, full PPR. I'm going Chubb and I'm going Dobbs. I don't like ETN. I don't like ETN. And I don't like him going up against Detroit. Detroit's defense is tough, even without Hutch here lately. And then Zadarius Smith is playing this week. He's getting his first go at it. No, I don't like ETN. Give me Dobbs and give me Chubb for sure. Is Love going to return to how he was towards the end of last year? He could. He was looking like he was going to be a very good option beginning of the season. Michael Starr brother getting ready to watch it. There you go. Watch that. Oh, dude, John Jones is a bad man. A bad man. Yeah. Have fun watching the fight, Michael, brother. Hey, I appreciate you coming by. I don't think Love is. I think Love is going to be good. Okay. He's going to throw for a lot of yards, some touchdowns. I think fantasy wise, he's going to be really good. I think where the questions are going to be around him is real life quarterbacking, right? The guy that's going to carry the team. Is he going to carry a team to a deep playoff run, to a Super Bowl, all of that? I don't think he's that guy. But I think fantasy wise, he's going to be pretty good. I think he's going to be all right fantasy wise. So if we're talking fantasy there, Michael, yeah, I think Jordan Love is going to be a good fantasy option for you, kind of going forward type thing. Oh, let's see here. I traded Baker for him when Evans and Godwin went down. Yeah, but Evans is coming back. I don't know, man. That one's tough. I think that one's tough. I love Baker, and Baker's continued to produce without Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. He's made other guys pretty good. Man, that is a tough one. Like, because you're getting, and if you look, we're going to look going forward, right? Baker's got the Giants next week, the Panthers, the Raiders, Chargers, a tougher matchup, and then week 16, Dallas, and week 17, Carolina again. So I'm regretting it. I mean, Baker gets you running yards too. He does. He does for sure, Michael. I think I'm going. I would rather have Baker. I like those matchups. I really do. And you've got Love has got to play Detroit again. He's got to play the Vikings again. The Bears a couple times, right? I think this is the first of two against the Bears this season. But yeah. Start three: Downs, Jennings, McConkey, Purcell, and Tillman. Tillman. I'm going Tillman and I'm going Jennings. Love schedule is rough. Yeah, and Baker's is nice. So we're going Jennings and we're going Tillman. Those are both guys that we've talked about that we like this week. Those are both guys that we're playing this week if we have them. So then it becomes a question of Downs, McConkey, and Purcell. Who's going to be number 3? I don't like Josh Downs with Anthony Richardson in there. Is boomer bust with Anthony Richardson. He's going to throw for 60-yard completion, or he's going to fart and fall down. That's what he does. So I don't like Josh Downs this week. McConkey or Purcell, I think I'm gonna just gonna ahead and go with McConkey. He's the number one guy there. He's gonna get the higher target shell, target share. Purcell is going to get better as the season goes on, but he's not one of my guys that I want to make sure I play. Jennings we're playing, Tillman we're playing, and I think McConkey's just better right now. He's getting the higher target share. He's going to get more passes thrown his way. Purcell's more of a. They're going to try and get some plays to him for sure, but it's going to be more so like, hey, gimmick plays, things like that. Try and bust them out for a big pass, a little play action type thing. So he could get you some big yardage off big plays, and if it's a league where you're going to get extra points for the big plays, that will definitely help you out. But I still think McConkey's going to have the better week. So for me in this situation, I'm going Jennings, McConkey, and Tillman. Those are my three. I just don't like Josh Downs with Anthony Richardson. I don't like anybody over there in Indy with Anthony Richardson. Now maybe Richardson has learned something, sitting the last few weeks behind Flacco, but I'm not gonna hold my breath on that one. So hey, no problem, Rome. That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for. I do this every Saturday night. Typically I'm earlier. Typically I'm out here about 10 p.m. Central Time. But my kiddo had a softball tournament and we were at the fields late. So I ended up, having to do the show a little bit later than normal. But yeah, no, I'm here every Saturday night answering all your guys' start sit questions. But I don't just say, hey, do this, do that. I'm going to talk it through with you. We're going to talk things through. We're going to take a look at some numbers and we're going to bounce some information off of each other and then come to a decision and be like, hey, here's where we're going with. So, but yeah, and then we're here on Wednesdays as well, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Me and my co-host, Rapid Dave, we do it. We talk about the week before that just happened, and we talk about the upcoming week, a little bit about the Thursday night game, all that stuff. My thoughts on Taysom Hill are the same as they are every week. Yeah, real. Thank you. Hey, no problem, Michael. Taysom Hill is boomer bust. Boomer bust. You're playing Taysom Hill if you need a big week out of your tight end, because he's either going to get you 2 points or he's going to get you 20 points. And if that's the only tight end you're carrying and you're playing him on a week in, week out basis, you're playing him because of that FOMO, that fear of missing out. You don't want to miss. You're willing to ride through 2 points, 2 points, 0 points, 2 points to get that 20 points. And then 2 points, 3 points, 2 points, 20 points. That's what you get with it. It's a roller coaster ride with Taysom Hill is what it is. And so my thoughts on him are the same every week. Do you need a big week out of your tight end? And if you do, then he's got a high ceiling. He has a high ceiling every week because they do so much with him. But also teams kind of game plan for that. I sat Goddard for Taysom this week. I think I made the right choice with 8.6 from Goddard. We'll see. I mean, time's only going to tell with, again, if Taysom has one of his weeks, yeah, 100%, right? But with only getting 8 points out of Goddard, you're not missing much, right? Even if Taysom has one of his weeks where he's getting you 2, 3, maybe 4 points, right? Okay, you missed, 4 to 5 points, right? But if he has his big week, boom. So for me, it just kind of depends on who are my other options, right? Well, Goddard hasn't done much this year. So you're not getting a huge production out of your tight end position, right? So why not go for the home run? Go big or go home, right? The 90-yarder getting called back hurt bad, dude. There's probably a few people that threw something at their TV or snapped at their as they stood up and dropped a couple F-bombs, and their lady was like, "What's going on, babe?" And they probably didn't get a, But anyways, they probably they probably popped back at her real quick, But yeah, that's my thing with Taysom Hill. I love Taysom Hill. Love the guy. But I don't pick him up anymore because if I do, I'm not, and I once I put him in, I'm not pulling him out. I'm not pulling him out. Playing Taysom Hill is like the guy who's going all in every hand, right? All in, all in, all in. You're going all in with Taysom Hill. And I can't take that ride anymore. I can't. I just can't do it. Um I go with guys that are more kind of steady, right? I'll draft some higher end guys that I think are going to have big years and things like that. But Taysom, again, it's a roller coaster ride with him. What's your thoughts on Eckler? I traded for Eckler and Downs. I traded Eckler and Downs for ETN 2 weeks ago. You traded for Eckler and Downs for ETN. Oh, that dude, you've hosed that guy then because I don't like ETN at all. I like Eckler. Eckler's been good. He's worked his way into that offense a little bit more. I'm not a huge Downs guy with Anthony Richardson. Unless Richardson starts to get better, I'm not super excited about that. But Eckler's going to rest of the season. Eckler will definitely be better than ETN. I don't think it matters who starts because Eckler's going to work his way in there. They're going to design plays for him. He's going to catch the ball out of the backfield, and his value with him is that receiving game, right? Catching the ball in the backfield and making big plays. I mean, rushing wise, he had 2 rushes for 7 yards this week, but he had 8 catches for 89 yards. And let's look at going forward the next 3 games: Dallas, Tennessee, then on the bye, then New Orleans. You finish the season tough with Philly and Atlanta, who are 2 of the better teams against the run. But like next week, we're playing Eckler against Dallas. We're not even thinking about that. So I don't think it's in this again. It doesn't matter who's starting there. Eckler's going to find his way onto the field and he's going to get you some reception. So if you're a PPR league, then yeah. Why? Because he just hasn't. Jaleel McGee, dude, that's a very frustrating guy, right? But he hasn't done anything with his opportunities, right? I think Jaleel, that's a guy that a lot of people were expecting to kind of take over this year, and he hasn't. Um, he just hasn't been that guy. I think they kind of want to lead more towards Audric Estime, and that's why they drafted him this year. But I'm just kind of staying away. I'm staying away from that Denver running back situation because it's more of a committee, and you don't know who's it going to be. Who's it going to be this week, right? They haven't given him a chance, but that could have something to do with what they're seeing out of him in practice and things like that. Is he good against the block? Is he a good because with a rookie quarterback, you have to have a back there who's good at blocking, right? Who can pick up the blitz and things like that and help you out. So that's kind of where I'm sitting at with that. He is small, right? But you got to have a guy who can definitely block for you. You don't think Robinson matters essentially? Mine is I think Robinson matters, but I think it's a situation where Robinson's going to get his and Eckler's going to get his. And you can have an opportunity to play both running backs and get good production out of both of them. Now, you're not going to get David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs type production, but you're going to get some good production. And so, yeah, Robinson matters, but they trust Eckler. And he's going to get in there on 3rd down, right? He's going to catch the ball out of the backfield. I think I like Brian Robinson. I think B-Rob's been good. Now, we got banged up and we haven't seen much out of him really since then, right? But I like B-Rob. I think he's good. So that's kind of where I'm at with that's where I'm sitting at. I like both of them. But I think Eckler again in PPR format half PPR still. You're still getting points for every catch, regardless of the yards, right? So again, I like playing Eckler going forward, especially next week. We're playing Eckler. We're playing Eckler and Brian Robinson next week against the Cowboys. Because the Cowboys suck. They're bad. They're bad. Yeah. Let's see here. What the hell do I do with Mostert? Nothing. I can't trade him for anything, and I don't know what he's gonna do. I we haven't gotten anything out of Mostert, right? Um, this was your league leader in touchdowns last year, but A-Chain's just kind of made him irrelevant, right? He had 0 carries last week. He had 2 catches for 34 yards. Before that, 10 rushes for 56, 9 for 19 with 2 touchdowns. I think it's just a matter of Mostert was defying the odds last year by being as good as he was with as old as he is. But also, he did a huge chunk of that before A-Chain got in there. And once A-Chain got in there, that really took some shine away from him for sure. But A-Chain's younger, more explosive. Mostert's he's just getting older, right? I don't know that you do anything. I don't know that I drop him, right? Because here's the thing. Again, it would depend on who you'd be picking up to drop him, which I doubt there's anybody out there that I would want to drop him for. But if you dropped Mostert, somebody else would pick him up, I think. I'm pretty confident in the fact of that just because of the touchdown threat. But also, like, hey, especially if someone owns A-Chain, I'm going to pick up Mostert if I've got the room on my roster to pick him up and have him there in case A-Chain gets hurt, right? Because I think that's where Mostert will pick up some values if A-Chain gets hurt. So, but yeah, no, that's just one of those guys that, like, Pat Mahomes. I'm not playing Pat Mahomes, but I'm not dropping him. I'm not going to let someone else pick him up, and then all of a sudden he starts knocking out of the park again. So, by the way, the full trade was 2 QB. It's a 2 QB league. Okay. Eckler Downs for Winston, Etienne, and Keenan Allen. He needed QB, so I think I won that trade. Yeah, I mean, I'm not excited about Winston. I don't like Etienne. I'm not a big Keenan Allen guy. I don't believe in that Bears offense at all. Now we'll see what happens with Waldron gone. Which if you guys want to see something funny, last year or whenever the Bears signed Shane Waldron, so this guy was interviewing Jackson Smith-Njigba and said, "Hey, what do you think about Bears fans are super excited about getting him? What do you think?" And he just went blank. He's like, he had nothing good to say. It was pretty funny. But yeah, check that out. Jackson Smith-Njigba talking about Shane Waldron. Wasn't. And then like at the end, he just kind of, tries to save a little face and not just talk all trash about it. It's like, oh no, I like him. He's a good guy and he's smart and blah blah blah. But yeah, no, you could tell he did not like Shane Waldron at all. But yeah, and with Winston, you're expecting to get like 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions, right? That's just what Jameis does, right? He throws touchdowns, but he also throws interceptions. He throws a ton of interceptions. But yeah, I like Eckler. I like getting rid of Etienne. I'm not a big Keenan Allen guy. I just don't think Caleb Williams has been that good, but it's not all on him. That offensive line is trash. That offensive line is awful with Chicago. And Caleb's running for his life. He's got happy feet. Big time. Big time. So, yeah. I mean, I like getting Eckler. Downs, we'll see. I'm not excited right now with Richardson. Hopefully he learned a little bit, comes out playing better. But I don't know that that's necessarily going to help him too much because I think the issue with Anthony Richardson is he's just played so little of football. He's barely played any football, and he just needs to play to get better. But you got to fight through the struggles with him in order for him to get better, right? So If Downs pops off this week, do I sell high on him or ride it out? I mean, it would depend on what you can get for him. But I mean, that would be a time to sell high, right? It just depends on what you're getting for him and where you're sitting at, roster wise. Do you need him? Can you maybe pull okey doke on somebody? Some a little snake oil? Um, to me, it just depends on what you're getting, right? I mean, if you're definitely upgrading there, then yeah, go for it. If you could pull one off on someone, yeah, go for it. Sell high. Be like, oh, dude, this guy's great. And then they see, oh, wait, he's not that great. And I don't think it's any indictment on him. I just think it's his quarterback. Anthony Richardson's. I've been saying it all season. Anthony Richardson's not that guy. I had him ranked pretty low while everyone else had him ranked high. And, I was in some leagues where people were drafting him high and like, yeah, I got AR-15. And I'm like, cool. I'm going to get Matt Stafford undrafted and he's going to do better. I have 5 viable wide receivers: Tillman, Downs, Jennings, McConkey, Purcell, debating who to try and trade away. I mean, if you're looking, I want to upgrade at wide receiver, 2-for-1 type deal. Okay. If you can pull something, again, it just depends on what you're getting. How many wide receivers are you playing, Rome? Are you playing 3? Do you have 2 wide receiver slots in a flex? Are we playing 3 wide receivers in a flex? What kind of action are we looking at here? Because here's a concern, and here's what you got to make sure you don't do. 2 wide. Okay, so you can play 3 of the guys, which again you're playing Tillman, Jennings, and McConkey. That's who you're playing. Downs and Purcell are kind of your backups. You don't want to get rid of too much and get rid of your depth, because if you have an injury and now you're down to 4 wide receivers and you could play 3 of them, Gibbs, Eckler, and Tracy at RB. Okay, I love Gibbs. I like Eckler going forward, and I think Tracy's been really good. So your flex spot will be very competitive because, I mean, like, shoot, you're playing Gibbs. Gibbs is playing every week, right? We're not benching. We're never benching Gibbs. The next couple weeks, we're not benching Eckler because he's got 2 great matchups the next couple weeks. But then Tracy's been, man, yeah. And then you're playing Tillman and Jennings are probably your 2 starters. McConkey is your flex option. That's tough. But you don't want to get rid of too much depth because if somebody gets injured, you don't want to be hurt if someone's injured, right? But if you can make a significant move to get a really nice pickup and an upgrade to a guy that you're like, nope, this is my new guy, right? Then yeah, why not? So then I can only start 2 of 5 wide receivers. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're looking at some weeks, yeah. And I'm assuming you're playing 2 running backs or 1 running back. Because I know I'm part of a league that I only start 1 running back and I got flex. Taysom Hill and Goddard are my tight ends. I wouldn't mind upgrading there. Yeah, 2 RBs. Yeah, so you're playing 2. So you're playing Gibbs and Eckler right now for the next few weeks, and then Tracy definitely gets a lot of consideration for that flex because he's looked really good. I wouldn't mind up. Yeah, I mean, Goddard you were hoping for more out of Goddard this year, right? Taysom Hill is still the same guy that we thought he was at the beginning of the year. He's boomer bust. Goddard was a guy that we were kind of hoping to be a little bit better this year, but also we've gotten crap production out of our tight end position this year. We haven't gotten much out of our tight ends at all. That's across the board in the entire league. Tight end production is down fantasy wise. Yeah, but I don't know. Here's my thing. I don't know that I give up wide receiver stock for tight end stock. Let's talk about that. I don't want to downgrade and get rid of my depth at wide receiver to improve my tight end position. Um, that's something I don't want to do. So you got to be careful with that room, kind of navigating that. It's a thin line, right? Now, if you're upgrading your wide receiver while also upgrading your tight end, okay, we can kind of talk, right? Um, but I just want to be move forward with caution because you don't want to sacrifice wide receiver production for tight end production. I have a current offer out of Downs, Pittman, and Mostert for Kadon. Okay. So and so you'd be getting rid of Downs and Pittman. Downs, Pittman. Okay. Hmm, it's a lot. We're not getting anything out of Mostert though. Not super excited about Downs. Pittman's kind of in the same boat. Those are the offers I'm sending and getting nothing for RBs, wide receivers, and tight ends. Yeah. Um, I didn't see Pittman when you told me about your wide receivers. Is that Pittman or Purcell? Rome? Because I didn't see Pittman on your list. Pittman's not on your list of your wide receivers. So what do we got going there? Pulling the okie doke on me? Oh, yeah, Pittman too. Okay. So you got 6, but at no point in time are we playing Downs and Pittman, and I don't know that I'm playing Pittman right now either because Pittman's been kind of a he's not viable to start. I don't think any of those wide receivers with the Colts are viable to start right now. I think the only guy I'm starting out there in Indy is Stewart, not Stewart, Taylor, Jonathan Taylor, not Stewart. What am I thinking? I'm getting tired. Um, but yeah, just be careful. Don't give up too much to pick up a tight end because how much are you really going to upgrade, right? You just want to be careful with that. All good. I appreciate talking. Yeah, no problem, Rome. Like I said, I'm here every Saturday night, typically 10 p.m. Central Standard Time. We'll be here on Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central Time for an hour. I'm actually getting ready to call it a night now. Been great, and say, yeah, that's what I'm here for, man. Let's talk things through. Let's figure some things out. Let's get some dubs, right? It's all about getting those dubs week in and week out. Yeah, but you drop either one of them, and someone's going to pick them up. Someone will take a flyer on Pittman and Mostert. So just dropping them to pick somebody else up, you got to be careful who you're doing it because again, if you drop Pittman, someone's going to pick him up like that. Mostert, pretty quick, you know. So yeah, so why not try and pull a trade for those guys? No, Lockett got dropped and no one picked him up. That's interesting. Good luck tomorrow, Alan. Have a good night, brother. Hey, you too, UNLV. But yeah, that's interesting that Lockett didn't get picked up. Do I drop Pittman for Lockett? Okay. I think you're better quarterback wise. Let me just double check what Lockett's done. I mean, we're not getting a huge production out of Lockett. 3 catches, 1, 4, 4, 4, 5, 5, 2. Just been the last few weeks here. Matchups are decent. You got a couple. The week 17, you got the Bears. They give up the least amount of points to wide receivers. Week 13, the Jets, 29th most points. So they're pretty stout there. But I want to say, let me just double check this. I mean, the last 2 weeks, you got a catch out of Pittman each week. 4 targets for 1 catch out of 4 targets, 1 catch out of 6 targets, 3, 3, 5, 6. I mean, if no one's pulled the trigger yet, let's see what happens with Pittman this week with Richardson. Because you might get a big week out of Pittman this week and might be able to pull a trade. So again, you said no one's picked up Lockett yet. I don't think anything will change this week unless Lockett has a big week, right? Um, but if Pittman has a big week, you might be able to trade Pittman off. If Downs has a big week, you might be able to trade Downs off. Um, although, do we necessarily want to if he's going to have a big week? But I'm just not excited about Anthony Richardson. Maybe you get a big catch out of Pittman, right? Because it's boom or bust typically with Richardson, and Pittman gets a big play with a touchdown, 40-yard touchdown, and then all of a sudden now he's got a decent amount of points because of a big play. So I think I hold off right now and just kind of see what happens, Rome. That's where I'm going to be at with that. Let's see what happens tomorrow. Did Richardson learn anything this few weeks on the bench? I again with him, I think it's just playing time, and the guy needs to play. And then in order for that to happen, you've got to sit through some bad times to hopefully come out on the other end feeling better. So, but yeah, that's all I got for you guys tonight. I'm going to go ahead and take off. But thank you guys so much for coming in. Rome, thank you for coming in. UNLV, as always, thank you for coming in. Michael, if you're still in here, thank you, brother, for coming in. Hopefully that fight's going good. Michael Keaton, thank you for coming in. Just everybody. Definitely appreciate it. Kyle, Smokey, yeah, everyone. If I missed you, I'm sorry. But thank you guys so much for joining me. I appreciate it. I'll talk to you guys later. Hey, get those dubs. Talk to you guys later. Deuces.